Welcome to the Fallen State. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Thank you all so much for being with me. Don't forget, you can support the Fallen State by going and becoming a member right there on the YouTube channel, TheFallenState.tv and locals.com. And check out my coffee. I have my own coffee now. Good. Punchy's Coffee. Go to jesseleepeterson.shop. So, my friend is back, and I can't believe I have a chance to talk to him again. Scott Adams is here, and he is a cartoonist, author, best known for creating Dilbert. Scott, welcome back, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I am happy to have this conversation with you. I saw a little of a clip where you said you were ill at one point, and that you weren't expected to be around much longer. And I was like, I almost started crying when I heard you say that. You have a form of cancer or something, right?
Yeah, I've got the same kinds of cancer that Biden has. So it's prostate cancer, which if it's localized, if it stays in your prostate, it's easily treatable.
Right on.
They can cut it out. But mine is not.
Oh,
mine is, like Biden, is spread to my bones. So in California, you can end your own life, somewhat in a civilized way by picking the date you do it and just ordering some juice that you drink and it puts you out. So I had already been declared terminal, meaning that within 6 months, there was a pretty good chance I would be dead from natural means.
Right.
So once you qualify for that, then they will, if you go through a couple of doctors, there's a process, you can get approved for taking your own life at your leisure, basically, when it gets too painful. And the pain for probably the first 5-6 months of this year, was just terrible. I mean, just all over, just horrible pain all day long, 24 hours a day. And so, and I was declining quite quickly. And so I had planned at the end of June, which was this last June,
right.
Somewhere around the last day of June, when I'd gotten past some things, some family stuff, I had planned to take my life. But prior to that, one of my many doctors that I've talked to said you should try these testosterone blockers, which I'd been offered in the beginning, but I didn't want to change my gender, basically. If you turn off your testosterone,
yeah,
the way I describe it is, it's like dying twice.
Yeah.
Once when you're no longer a man because you don't have testosterone, and then secondly when the rest of you goes. So I thought, originally I thought I'd just rather die once and die as me, not die as whatever is the non-testosterone version of me.
Right.
But it was a mechanism that if it didn't work, it would allow me to get this new drug. And so I tried it. And in 1 week, it removed all of my discomfort.
Wow.
All of it. Now, I don't think anybody knew that would even happen. And I believe that people have different sensitivities to knocking out their testosterone. The cancer doesn't always respond to that.
Right.
But mine did, and very aggressively. So at the moment, I'm back to exercising. I run a full schedule. I'm very tired, so I have pretty much I have to nap with my cats in the afternoon.
Right.
but I woke up from my nap for you, and I'm all ready to go.
Well, I appreciate that. So are you glad you didn't do the suicide thing before June? You kind of wanted to wait?
I mean, I literally had the juice that you take. I'd already ordered it. It was sitting at the pharmacy. It was waiting for me to pick it up.
Wow.
I could have picked it up at any moment and been done by the end of the day. And I'd made the decision. But all my pain went away. So I thought, well, let's see what happens.
Wow.
So, I mean, I suppose I could live for a while. I mean, I don't know what the limit is. Everybody's different.
Right.
But it could be years, it could be months. But at the moment, except for having no testosterone, which definitely changes me, I feel great.
Right on. Were you afraid to die?
Weirdly, no. Well, I was afraid of the actual moment of death, in case you get it wrong.
Right.
But there's a way that you can take the ending your life juice, and sometimes you'll throw it up, and then you don't die, but you're half dead because you got half of the poison is in you. So there was the possibility of the worst case scenario. And by the way, that's probably still ahead of me. Like, probably that's how I'll extinguish the flame when it's time.
Yeah.
But there's also the possibility that I can stay around long enough for AI to cure this stuff.
Right.
I mean, there are lots of tests that are being run right now. So maybe I get lucky.
Well, I hope so. How old are you?
I am 68.
68. So you're still young.
Well, yeah. Turns out that I got this particular cancer at the age that is most common. So men get it just about the same age, very typically.
Right.
So it's the most common thing.
I noticed that I hear from a lot of men now, they have it at that age. A lot of them have, maybe not as bad as yours or serious as yours, but a lot of men seem to be getting cancer now.
Well, I think it had always been true that a lot of people got what I'd call the small form of prostate cancer, the kind if you ignored it and never did anything about it,
Yeah.
it might never spread, and you might die of something else anyway.
Yeah.
So it could be that we're a little bit better at detecting it. That might be part of it too.
So I heard, I don't know if it's true, that there's no cure for cancer and they don't know what causes it.
I heard that was something we heard today, right? Somebody said that we only imagine we know what's happening with cancer.
Right.
I did know that every cancer is different, which makes me think that having one name for it probably has always been misleading. But yeah, so we'll see. Maybe AI will be the answer.
So coming that close to death, did you have any regrets, or
Nope.
did you wonder how I live my life? I should have done this or done that. Or I wish I had not done this or that. Coming that close to this, did you reflect and have any regrets or anything?
Nope. The weird thing is that I live my life without regrets, and I don't know if I'm just wired that way,
Yeah.
or if I taught myself not to regret, because there's no upside to regret. But I was looking at my life, and the way I grade it, if you're going to give yourself a report card, how'd you do in your life?
Yes.
The only real way that makes sense is, what did you do in service of other people?
Right.
And if you did that right, then the things that you screwed up and, just personally, the things that you could have done better, they're not so important. And one of the, I guess, the good news, bad news of being a public figure is that when I announced that I only had what I thought was just a few weeks left, I didn't expect this, but people completely opened up, and they all wanted to go public with what they think I had given them. The either advice, the inspiration, the training, the technique. Because I've spent the last 10 years literally trying to train people to be more effective and happier and get what they want. And apparently it worked for a lot of people. So my books were transformational to a lot of people. So that allowed me to say, all right, I did my job.
So you ended up getting your flowers before you died.
I know, it was exactly like attending my own funeral and listening to the speeches.
Yeah.
I recommend it. Believe it or not, it could easily be the peak best experience of my life, because people don't, with tears in their eyes, come up to you and say, I just have to tell you, how much I'll miss you, or how much you meant to me. And the degree to which that is meaningful you can't even explain it. It's everything.
Right on, man. You're not married. Are you married with children and all that?
Well, I'm not married at the moment. I tried it twice,
Oh,
but
okay.
so far there's a perfect record of no woman who ever wanted to live with me for very long. I've got 3 stepkids. One died from a fentanyl overdose some years ago, but I got 3 of them. They're still in my life.
Right on. And so, when you considered suicide, were you wondering if you were going to hell or heaven? Did you wonder where am I going? Like, where am I going once I leave this body? Did you wonder about that?
So I didn't believe that I would wake up in heaven or hell. So that's not part of my belief system.
Right.
But I do think there's a non-zero chance that we're a simulation, sort of like a video game. So although I don't think it's likely, I thought there was a non-zero chance that I would wake up in a gamer chair, and I'd wake up and I'd be in the original base reality.
Yeah.
And I'd see all my friends that were not part of this life, and I'd say, how long was I out? And they say something like, "Oh God, you were out for an hour." And that represented my entire life, and I'd be like, "Wow, this is the greatest game. Can I go again?" So part of me thinks it's possible. I mean, I wouldn't bet on it, but it's possible.
As a result of that, you were not afraid of dying, of death.
I was definitely not afraid of being dead. I was concerned for people I'm leaving behind who would not handle it well, and I was concerned if I couldn't be there to be their backstop, in case things got tough.
Right.
Because you feel a certain responsibility as a man, probably everybody. But I think almost all of my concern was about the other people. So, I had to put my estate together and give away the things that I'd never use again. And
Right.
so it was all externally focused, which is very mentally healthy to be externally focused.
I think that is so interesting to me that you were considering dying. You kind of had your own date. You're going to do it your own way. You're going to take your own life. To me, that's interesting. I don't know. I hope I never have to make that decision, but I don't know what I would be thinking if I know in June, the end of June, I'm going to take my own life and I'm prepared for it. I don't know how I would live that way. I don't know, would I be afraid or how I would deal with that?
One of the things that made it easier, ironically, was that I was in so much physical pain that it was hard to concentrate on everything else. So during that time, my elderly dog passed away. And, you have to go through that horrible day where, at least out here, you could pay somebody to come to your house, give the lethal injection and stuff.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's the most emotional thing you could ever experience is, your beloved 17-year-old dog being put to sleep. But I was in so much pain that I really couldn't think of much beyond my physical discomfort. So I didn't really dwell on it as much as you'd think.
Right.
Because I was so in the moment in my body.
Were you going to have family members around you or just the assistant doctor folks?
Believe it or not, you don't even have the option of doctors. It's not an option. You don't do it in a medical facility. You do it at home. And I probably would have done it in the backyard. So that way, whoever owns the house afterwards doesn't have to disclose that somebody died in the house.
That's a good idea.
I think it works that way.
I love that idea. That's right. Don't die in the house because I don't want to deal with your ghosts.
So apparently what you do is you drink the juice, but it doesn't work instantly. So it puts you to sleep almost instantly, but you lay there for hours, slowly dying, but unconscious.
Wow. So,
of course, there's part of me that says, are you really unconscious? Are you positive you're unconscious?
Yeah.
Because that's not how I want to spend my last several hours laying under a tree, immobilized and dying.
What a mess. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
that'd be
glad you
bad.
could put it off for a while longer.
Yeah.
Do
So
you have anger inwardly?
no,
Are you at peace? Do you have anger?
I'm completely at peace.
Really?
I don't have any anger.
Right on. At
Yeah.
least you died with no anger. You got a better chance of going up instead of down.
Well, they also make that easy for you if they take your testosterone away. You know, it's not. I don't know if other people would notice the change in my personality, but I notice it because there are times when my temper would flare,
Uh-huh.
but I always imagined that was sort of attached to my creative impulses because I have the ability to get really really intense both negatively and positively. The positively would be
Right.
creativity and negative would be saying stuff that gets me canceled. And so I miss both of those.
Oh,
Strangely enough, I sort of miss being so angry that I'm not afraid of anything. That
amazing.
that's sort of a fun feeling now and then, if it's justified, right? If it's over nothing, then I'm just a jerk. But if I'm angry over something that you darn well ought to be angry about, sometimes a little anger, a little extra energy could make is just the right thing.
Amazing. One other quick thing about this, and I have so many other things because I know your time is here. What's going to happen to Dilbert? Uh, had you done that? What were you going to do with who you left Dilbert with?
Well, I don't want to say who I've left
Oh,
anything in
okay.
particular to,
Okay.
but a family member. It would be, a family member and a younger person, and they would have help managing the asset. I wouldn't. The comic would stop,
Yeah.
but there are 11,000 Dilbert comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they might have some economic value.
I know that Dilbert will miss you terribly. I can't imagine Dilbert being without you.
Yeah, poor guy. It's funny. I do think of him almost like a real person at this point.
A while back, you said something like, and I don't remember exactly, but the hell with the blacks, that you can't help.
No, I
But
didn't say that. No, Jesse, it's very important we use the exact wording here.
you said, I'm staying the hell away from the blacks or something like that.
That's a little closer. So the context that got me canceled in 2023 is that there was a poll by Rasmussen.
Yeah.
They're, in my opinion, one of the better pollsters, and they did a poll in which they asked a number of Black Americans this question. They said, "Is it okay to be white?" Now, I didn't know at the time that apparently that's like a white supremacist saying, but just sounded like ordinary language to me. I didn't know there was a connection to that.
Right.
So something like some horrible percentage, I don't know, 30 to 50%, were not willing to say that it's okay to be white. Now, this was in the context of DEI and CRT and ESG and the mass brainwashing and or training of the American public that white people are the problem. And if you're Black, you should recognize that these white people are, the source of your problem. And I reached sort of a breaking point.
Yeah.
Because I thought we were all sort of working together, to try to make it better for everybody. And then I guess I felt the pull. I felt like, oh my God, I've spent so much time going out of my way to do things which were designed entirely for Black America. I tried to. It's a long story, but I've long tried to be helpful under the theory that if you can help the demographic group that's in the biggest hole, you get the biggest bang for the buck. So just be the most useful thing you can do. But feeling that maybe a third or more wouldn't even want to live next to me made me think, well, hell with it. Why is it mine to solve?
That's
And I'll tell you
right.
what I found out. I got corrected by some very smart, I'll call them activists who were also Black, who informed me one day in a Spaces event right after that, because everybody wanted to talk to me after that. They informed me that, and this was really useful, that they didn't really want my white guy help. That they would happily take my investment if I wanted to give a grant or invest in the community.
Yeah.
But they would decide what to do with that money and how to fix their own problems. And I have to say, I have complete respect for that opinion.
Yeah.
I like the fact that somebody said, you don't need to fix anything. Just leave us alone. We might need money because everybody needs money, but we'll fix this.
Yeah.
To which I said, I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah,
So I'll just stay away.
I've always thought that the white people need to just stay out of the black folk business and let them fix their own life. Cause no one can fix you. It takes you. You got to work on you to fix your own life. And I've always felt like white people were in the way by feeling sorry for the blacks and offering them this program or that program, or going along with them, agreeing that somebody else was their problem. And I've always thought that hurt the black and not helped them.
Right. Yeah. So you're saying exactly what I didn't understand. Yeah. But, I came to understand it the hard way, and I respect that point of view completely.
Right on.
But my problem was in the context of the DEI and that stuff, that literally white people were being demonized as the problem. Yeah. And nobody's going to believe this, but you might. You might believe it. I want to help. Like that's my deal, just in life in general. Yeah. It's not just on this topic. When I enter a topic or get into a business arrangement or anything, I think, okay, how can I help my partners? How can I help my coworkers? How can I help my fellow countrymen? So it bothered me that I couldn't help.
Yeah.
And it bothered me that DEI made me the enemy instead of the person who might have an idea that would really help you out. Yeah. So that was sort of tough, and I think that made me mad as much as the poll did. Now, by the way, the poll was really undersized. There weren't enough people to make it valid. But 2 years later, Rasmussen redid the poll with a bigger sample.
Yeah.
Same answer.
Yeah.
Same answer with a bigger sample.
And so I wonder, I'm like, now that you're not dying, I wonder if you regretted saying that, because now you're going to be around long and they're going to call you racist.
Well, I didn't know at the time that I was going to be dying a few years later. But strangely, it didn't bother me as much as you would think it would.
Right on.
Because nobody disagreed with what I said.
Yeah.
That they just were offended and didn't think I should say it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed. You're the perfect person to ask. Is it your opinion that in the last, I'll say 6 months especially, there's a bluntness and an honesty about race from both black and white observers and influencers that we haven't seen before?
I absolutely agree.
Does that track with you?
Yes. And I think it's because white people just have black fatigue. I think they're just sick of being blamed and being angry at and calling them names, when in the past they've done all they could to try to help them, and they'll just hate it more. So yes, there is black fatigue in America now, and I understand.
But it's not just white people.
No, it's not. Not by anything.
So I'm glad I'm not imagining that. It seemed like something changed. Yeah. And I felt like I might have been one of the bricks in the wall. Yeah. The fact that I took a chance and destroyed my entire reputation and career. But I have to say, there was never a moment, not even for a minute, that it made me unhappy or sad.
Right on.
Because I'd reached that point in my career where I was actually thinking, how in the world can I retire? I didn't retire. I just moved the comic to a subscription basis.
Yes.
On Locals and also on X. But I didn't want to work for the man, I didn't want to have the publisher and everybody telling me you can do this, but you can't do that. So now I'm free.
Yes.
So as a creative person, it's really hard to know that you have to color between the lines and that you can only do what would be appropriate in a family newspaper that a 6-year-old might pick up and read the comic. I mean, that's basically the standard I was being held to. So now I can do whatever I want, and the comic is pretty awesome now. It's the best it's ever been.
What is it about human nature that we take concern about what others say or think or tell us what we can and cannot do? Why do we even consider what others think or say about us or tell us what to do? I
have a theory that everything we do is informed by our mating instinct. And so our desire to get along, and with men, we're seeking status, but also getting along. And with women, we're trying to impress them and such. So I feel like we're evolved to want to make other people like us, because that's where all our benefits come from. All right, you're not going to marry me, you're not going to hire me, you're not going to buy my product unless you like me. So try to make that happen.
So should we try to make them like us or dislike us? Why can't we just be an individual, be whole, be one, and live our life and neither try to make one like you or dislike you and leave it totally up to them, but don't put any restriction on self just to try to make someone like you or dislike you? What would happen if we didn't have neither dislike or like?
I feel like that would work for a certain set of people. So if you're internally a good person, you don't need any external anything to make you a good person. And you're just doing good person things and you're obeying the law. And when somebody needs a favor, you give it to them. That would be perfect. And that would be an example of somebody who's not thinking at all about what other people are thinking about. You're just doing your thing. But if you're going to be like a light rail stabbing kind of guy, or you're a lawbreaker or something, well, then maybe doing your own thing isn't going to be your best strategy.
It seemed abnormal to me that an individual would spend 1 second thinking about what others think about them or say about them. It just seemed to be an abnormal state of being, and I can't imagine living that way.
Yeah, it's if you break it down, why would your life be influenced by a chemical reaction in a stranger's skull?
Yeah,
that's all it is. It's just a small, teeny little. You wouldn't even be able to see it if you were looking at the brain.
Right.
If you held it in your hand, you couldn't even tell it was doing anything. Just a little chemical reaction, and that's the part where they're thinking about you in some negative way.
Yeah.
Why do I care about that? Well, why would I care about that lump of anything?
That's right, man.
Now, if I wanted to marry that person or hire that person or work with them, well, then I'd care, but it would be transactional.
Yes. Amazing. Who are you?
Who am I? I love that question. I take the point of view that you are what you do. So I take the point of view that if I had wonderfully positive thoughts about the world, but I kept them to myself, I'm not a good person. If I think of a positive thing about a person in the room with me and I don't give them the compliment, like I'm really thinking it. It's like, wow, you're really smart or nice or beautiful or something, and I don't say it, to me that would be almost immoral or unethical, because it doesn't cost me anything. So I tend to think that you are what you do, not your awesome thoughts. So if you give the compliment, well, then you can say you're that person. If you simply thought it and didn't give it, you're not that person. You're the person who didn't give the compliment.
So you believe that you are your thoughts?
No, you are your actions, but obviously your thoughts usually drive your actions.
And do you create your own thoughts?
I don't believe in free will. So I believe in cause and effect. So I think the brain is like every other part of nature, which is that if you could tell at the subatomic or even the quantum level what's going to happen next, It would just look like cause and effect with maybe some kind of quantum uncertainty thrown in, but it wouldn't be free will. So that's what I believe.
And so you don't believe that you create your own thoughts.
I don't believe we create our thoughts. No.
But you believe you are what you do.
You are what you do. Yeah.
So if you go to the toilet, are you the bathroom?
I suppose there's an interpretation question there. To answer your question, if I go to the bathroom, I've proven I'm a human being or a mammal, I guess. I've proven I'm a mammal, but that's only a partial answer because, I'll do more than that day.
So you believe,
I hope.
So you do different things and you have different thoughts all day long. And if you are what you do, are you changing every minute with every thought or every action?
No, I think you can take your average. I think you could say if somebody mostly was helpful throughout their life, but they had a few bad days, I think you'd round up and say, well, you were mostly good to people your whole life.
Amazing.
So you're mostly a good person.
And are you a Christian?
No, I was raised Methodist. I went to Methodist Sunday school till I was 11. And the thing that turned me away was the whole, who was it who was swallowed by the fish? Jonah?
Jonah, the whale.
Yeah, the whale.
Yeah.
And I remember calling a meeting with my mom. I said, Mom, they're telling us that a giant whale can eat a guy, and then days later the guy can pop out alive. And I said, I'm not sure these are real stories. I can't go to this Sunday school anymore. And she listened to me, and to her everlasting credit, my mother only cared that I had analyzed it.
Right on.
And then it was my decision. We never talked about it again.
Nice.
Yeah.
And who is God?
Well, you got all the good questions today. It seems to me that whatever is happening, this reality, our brains are not evolved or designed to understand base reality. So we seem to be running little movies in our heads. Maybe yours is different from mine, but I wouldn't know. We both have our own experience, and that's all we really know. So you could argue that God is, the biblical God. And I always appreciate that, let's say, I'll call it a frame, a way of looking at the world, that the Bible is true. And if you take all those teachings and all that stuff and live as though that's true, people get good results. So I'm very pro-Christianity because all the data suggests that people who take that point of view and they really live it, they get great results. They're healthier, they live longer, they're happier, they have families, just everything. So if I had the option of being a Christian and believing, I would take that. That's a better way of life. Clearly, I mean, unambiguously, it's a better way of life. But I don't have that option. My brain is what it is, and when I'm presented with all the arguments, I say to myself, I don't know, maybe we're a simulation. So that's where I'm at.
And where is God?
Well, I don't know where he is, if he is your formulation of God. You could say heaven, but you wouldn't know where that was exactly. If it's my formulation, where we're a simulation, that still implies that we're created by some higher intelligence. But it might have been a higher intelligence named Bob, who bought a planet simulation kit online in his base reality, and he's just running a little simulation, and I happen to be in it, this one. So I guess Bob would be God in that point of view, my personal God.
Amazing. One other quick question about that. When you die, do you think you leave this earth, this planet, or you stay here just without a body?
Well, I don't think you go anywhere like as a complete creature. either a soul that's complete or a body that's complete, I think that you change completely. Now, I also believe that anything you do in this life is going to have a ripple effect forever. So if you teach somebody some useful skills, then they're doing better, and that means their children might do better, etc. So I think that even if your physical body is completely destroyed and sent to the wind and dust, that all the things you've done and the people you've touched, nobody can take that away. That becomes part of cause and effect forever, and it's easy to imagine that as your soul, because if what you left when your body left, if what you left was, say, a bunch of good teachings, or maybe you paid some money so that people, would be more comfortable, maybe you invented something for somebody, those things, if they last beyond your mortal coil, those feel like a soul.
Amazing. So are you asleep or awake right now?
How would I know? How would I know? I guess that's the beauty, is that we never know if we're asleep or we're awake. When you're having an actual dream, sometimes you're sort of half aware you're dreaming, but other times you're not. So in theory, I could be having any experience at all, but imagining it's this one. So, and there's no way to know.
One way to know if you're asleep or awake is to be aware of yourself, not to be in your head thinking about tomorrow or yesterday or an illusion of a past or a future, but to only be right here, right now, even in this conversation, aware of what you're saying, aware of what you're hearing, aware of being sitting there in your room speaking. If you could just be aware of every present moment, then you would know you're not asleep, that you're awake. But if you're lost in imagination, then you're asleep because you're not aware of what's happening right now.
I like that. Yeah, that's probably a great way to know if you're asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, because anytime you go into thoughts about the past or the future, you're asleep and you're not aware of what's happening right now and everything that's around you. When you come back to that, you're awake. And that's where the kingdom of heaven and everything is right here, right now, all the time. And in that present of the kingdom, there is no time. There is only now.
I think even the scientists would agree that our impression of time is, kind of fake.
It is. It's an illusion.
The only thing that, by definition, the only thing that exists is now.
Yeah.
Because the past is gone and the future isn't here yet.
It's nowhere but in the mind, and the mind is very deceiving and try to keep you in time so that it can control you and keep you away from the present, away from life. So, but a lot of people think that they are their thoughts and they don't realize that. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yep.
One thing I want to ask you about concerning the blacks. I've noticed that, and you're right, all races are fed up with the blacks. They're done with them. Black fatigue. And they just don't feel like being bothered with them anymore. They don't want to argue anymore. They want to prove anything. Black fatigue. Have you noticed that there's a genocide on white people in America predominantly by the blacks? They're killing them. They're raping the women. They walk up to them and just knock them out. They don't have to worry about punishment because they don't have to go to prison anymore. There's no bail bond. Have you noticed the same genocides on white people in South Africa is happening here now?
Well, I try to avoid using the over hyperbolic words, so genocide. So I won't use that word, but I will say that we're all aware of the same statistics.
Yeah.
And the statistics are just horrifying. But as far as I know, the black violence against white people is not nearly as bad as black violence against other black people, right?
Yeah.
Do I have that right?
You have that right. You have that right.
So it doesn't feel as personal as it could. If the only people being killed were white people, I'd say, all right, Now that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's we're going to have to get guns and take sides, and we're going to have to fight this out and figure out who wins. But that's not what's happening. There's some attraction to violence for reasons that maybe even smart people don't know yet. I mean, it may be several reasons all put together. So I don't know what's causing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I certainly noticed the statistical, let's say, unpleasantness.
Do you have fear?
I'm not a person who has a lot of fear about anything in general. I'm just lucky to be born that way. I just don't fear a lot of things. But I am, let's say, I would say wary. In other words, I'm aware, and I know that if things went in a certain direction, it could get really bad.
Yeah.
I am concerned that whatever this is that's happening doesn't have an obvious way to stop it.
Yeah.
So could get worse.
The politicians, and not all of them, of course, but most of them want that to happen. They want a civil war. They really want things to get bad, become bad, so that they can come in and be the savior. After creating this mess, they want to come in and be the savior of it so they can get money and perceived power. They don't want you to be free. They don't want you to love one another and not hate one another. They want you to need them, so they create separation, they create anger and confusion so that they can be the savior.
There's definitely some of that, but I wonder if anybody's really thinking it through, or are they just waking up and doing what they're doing every day.
They're not thinking through it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They're not thinking it through.
Yeah, so I don't see a big plot. Like, I don't see a conspiracy theory. I just see a bunch of people trying to get by, and we're not in a good place.
What do you think about the Great White Hope? How's he doing right now? What do you think about what he's doing?
That would be Trump.
They call him king. They call him, they call him daddy, and they call him what manner of man is this? The whole world obeys him, and I call him Great White Hope.
Well, it's hard to figure out how he's doing, because depending on what channel you turn to, he's either doing better than any president has ever done, like just ever. Like nobody's even close. That's one version you get from, let's say, Fox News Plus.
Yeah.
But if I go to the other places, then he's destroyed the planet, and oh my God, he took your democracy and everything else. Now, I don't see him stealing any democracy.
Right. Me either.
I definitely see him taking every bit of power that anybody will let him have, and then he weaponizes that to get things done that his base wanted. It's not like he's putting it in his pocket. He's doing stuff for his base.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that we like him, the people who like the president, is because he never leaves money on the table and walks away. He'll look down and say, all right, does this belong to anybody? There's a pile of money right here. Yeah. It's called Chicago crime. Are you telling me that I can just send in my forces, lower the crime, and then people will be happier? That's what that pile of money is. Nobody else is going to do that. Just me. All right, I'll take it. And then he takes the free money. Right. So I can't complain about that.
Nice.
It's a great show to watch too. Just the show he puts on.
It's amazing to watch this. It's mind blowing to me to watch this. I grew up on a plantation, as you know, in Alabama, under the Jim Crow laws, color signs on them, white signs, and all that. And I thought at the time America was amazing. And I saw American functioning, and there were men running things, and everything wasn't so out of whack as it is now. And then to finally see a man that we hired to work for us and not against us, and to see it in action, I feel so fortunate that I can observe this man with all the obstacles against him and how they try to stop him. And he doesn't tire out. He doesn't give up. He's just doing what he needs to do for the country. And to
Yeah, I
me, it's
mean, he got a shot
amazing.
and he just got stronger. I mean, he understands power and
Yeah.
how to get it and how to use it for productive means better than anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine after he's gone, because everything has an endpoint. Imagine after he's gone, trying to explain Trump and the Trump presidency to someone who, let's say, was young and missed it.
Yeah.
You would not be able to do it.
No.
There's no way you can explain what we're experiencing right now.
Yeah. It's amazing. I believe, and I know, this is beyond belief, that the same authority and power that's in him is in all of us, but most people never connect to that authority and power. And it comes from God, but it's in us already. But because most people don't live from within, and they don't understand because they can't see that we have authority over evil. Evil has no power. It only can intimidate you or deceive you in imagination. And Trump seemed to understand that when he comes up against evil, it has no power. So he deals with it with authority. And every human being has that. Most will not find it, but it's in all of us. And for me to see that in operation is mind-blowing.
Yeah, I feel like we're all learning something and just watching him work.
Absolutely, man. It's mind-blowing. How do you deal with criticism?
Well, years ago, when I first became a public figure, and if you're a cartoonist, you get a lot of criticism because it's not like you're hitting a home run every day. I was just looking at my comic for the day, and some people liked it, and one person said, "Not your best work." So I never go a day without pretty serious criticism. That one's not very serious, but I never go without it. And I've had periods where it was intense, and I got to tell you, I like the attention. I don't want my critics to know how much I enjoy it.
Right.
But for every little bit of feeling like, oh, I wish I hadn't never heard that, or, I have way more appreciation of the attention because that's what makes me feel alive.
Nice. One other quick question, then I'll put you on the hot seat and I'm going to let you go because I know you can only be here for an hour. What's your impression of the Vice President, J.D. Vance?
Well, we don't all know as much about him as we could because he hasn't been in the life as long. But he is really smart. He is being trained by the best.
Yeah.
And he would have the advantage that Trump has or built. I don't know how it happened. But let's call it the advisors, the paid ones and just the influencers and stuff on the political right are really, really good.
Yeah.
And it all happened kind of spontaneously. Like, the first time I saw Charlie Kirk, I thought, okay, just another influencer.
Right.
And then the longer you watch, you realize, holy cow, he's brilliant. He's just brilliant. And, I can name 10 other MAGA influencers who are just brilliant. And if you've got them, working with JD, or he's smart enough to pay attention and to know who to pay attention to, and I believe he is, he's going to be in good shape. So his advisor situation will be second to none. Right
on. You gave Nick some advice that maybe he should be quiet or not say certain things. You know Nick, right, Fonte?
Oh, I don't know him, but I know of him, yes.
You know of him, yeah. And you suggested that he should not say certain things or something like that.
Wait, did I? Did I? I don't believe I've ever advised him to say or not say anything in particular.
Do you remember what it was?
I don't recall that.
Do you remember? Oh, remember someone, according to the report, someone went to his home and threatened to kill him?
Oh, I've heard of that story. Did I comment on that?
Maybe I'm gonna have you confused with someone else about that.
Okay.
But you don't even know who he is, though, right?
Oh, yeah, I've talked about him.
Yeah.
I think he's insanely talented.
I do too.
And he's one of the beneficiaries of what I call the racial bluntness, meaning that people are just simply willing to listen to your point of view and maybe get something out of it, even if it's outrageously offensive to some people.
Yeah.
So I believe he adds, to the extent that his opinion is not just him,
Yeah.
to the degree that it represents some group of people, it's really useful if you know they're out there. So simply understanding their point of view is completely useful.
I've always thought of Nick as a very smart guy and very wise. And I spoke at one of his conferences once, and that's when I had interviewed him a couple of times on my show, but then I spoke at a conference, and there I realized how smart he is. And I was thinking, maybe, I don't know, I'm not even sure that I'm right about that, but I was thinking one day he could be president of this country if he dealt with his card in the right way, because he was so bright, he's so smart.
Yeah, I don't know if he can climb out of all the accusations he's having right now. I
Yeah.
mean, he said, I don't endorse everything he said.
Right.
So just to be clear,
Yeah.
I can appreciate his talent without agreeing with his points of view in all cases. But I think he adds a lot. I just don't think he can climb out of that, what he's done so far.
Yeah.
I don't think you can rehabilitate that.
Well, he's still young, so we'll give him a see what happens. Things can change.
He's got 40 years. Anything could happen.
That's right. So listen, I got to put you on the hot seat, and I need you to answer these questions as quickly as possible.
Okay.
The hot seat.
What is a man?
A man is somebody with testosterone who understands his role as a protector.
Is America the best country on this side of heaven?
Probably, but I don't have experience with all the other countries. But it seems like that to me.
Did you take the jab?
I took the jab so I could go on an international vacation with my beautiful wife at the time. Best vacation ever.
Were women created to lead or to follow?
I don't think they're created for any intention. I just think that that nature put us in this position, and that women are typically happier when men are taking the lead. But I've noticed that women are way better in taking the lead in a lot of family stuff. It's like if you're in a family situation, women tend to be the best operators there.
Did the woman come from God or from man?
Oh, well, I'm not a believer, so I'm going to say we're either a simulation or we evolved.
Is the earth flat or round?
I'm going to go with round, although I'm willing to believe anything at this point. I've been wrong about so many things that I was sure I was right about.
Yeah.
That I'm open to anything at this point.
Does a chicken have lips?
Not the ones I've known.
Which is worse, abortion or slavery?
Wait, what's the first one?
Which is worse, abortion or slavery?
Wow. I'm going to go with, wow, good question. I'm going to go with abortion if you're the aborted fetus. but it's probably a tie.
Do we need more white babies?
We probably do.
Who would you rather see as president? Michelle Obama, Kanye West, Hunter Biden, or Hillary Clinton?
Oh man. If I have to pick, I'm going to take Hunter Biden because there's no way that would not be entertaining.
Is it ever okay to call a woman fat?
Not to her face, and it's bad form to talk about in general. Now, my view is I don't do fat shaming because I believe nobody picks it. They might try to justify it if they're there anyway, but I don't think people choose it. So I'm things like alcoholism and addiction and weight. I tend to go easy on that stuff.
True or false? Sending your child to a public school is child abuse.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've watched the public school system just absolutely damage young people,
Yeah.
and it's one of the biggest scandals in the country that's largely unaddressed. Is that public school is it's a horror, I think, for most people.
Nice. Did you have fun?
Yes, a lot of it.
God, you have literally made my day.
Oh,
Really. I'm glad for this time with you, guy. But always, when I did have spoken with you, I've always enjoyed watching you as a distant, do your work and your interviews and talking to you. I really appreciate it.
well, remember earlier I told you that if you had a compliment in your mind, but you didn't set it free, it would be immoral.
Yes.
You are so good at this. You are so good. You made me enjoy my time, which makes my answers more fun, which is
Yeah.
everything. So you are A+ at this.
Thank you,
So
man.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Tell the folks how to get to your website, your show, whatever you want to put out there.
Well, I've got my my podcast every morning. You could just search for Coffee with Scott Adams and find it on YouTube and other places. But I also reissued my book, Loser Think, because it got canceled. But it's back as edition 2. So make sure you get the one with the white cover. This
Right.
one teaches you how to avoid saying all the dumb things when you argue. So you'll learn what the dumb things are so you don't say them. So that'll get you going. That's enough.
Right on. Well, I really wish you well, and thank you for coming on. And thank you all for tuning in. I absolutely appreciate it. Don't forget to check out our merch and support Bond at the YouTube channel there, or locals.com. My coffee, I have my own coffee now, Punchy's Coffee, at jesseleepeterson.shop. And then there's other guests you would like to see on the show, contact my producer, producer at TheFallenState.tv, and he'll have them on. And thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Scott. That was amazing.
Thank you. That was fun.
All right, buddy. Take care now.
All right.